Hello and welcome to GameSpot presents the HotSpot. It is Wednesday, December 14th. I forgot what day it is. HotSpot day. How's everybody doing? I don't know. Sean McInnes, how are you doing?
Hey, buddy. I'm doing quite well. How about yourself?
I'm pretty good. Pretty good. We also have Tom McShay,
Hey.
as we always do.
How's it going?
Apparently. And Brendan Sinclair, how are you doing, sir?
I'm doing pretty well.
You round out our cast for the week, which is weird because in the past couple of weeks we've had all sorts of weird, crazy guests. Most of them weird, a few of them crazy.
I'll do my best to live up to that standard.
I appreciate it. But yeah, this week is our normal hotspot, which is kind of weird because I feel like I should have a lot of tension and pressure on me right now. But this week is also weird because we literally have 0 games to talk about, except for RAAM Shadow, which we will be getting to later. Gears of War 3, Chris Waters will be joining us after a while. We're kind of changing up the order of how we do things this week, starting with news. Does that sound cool?
News. I like news.
You like news. You're a newsman.
It's what I do.
Much like myself. So let's talk about the VGAs.
Oh, do we have to?
The Video Game Awards, which were on Saturday.
That's not what you called them in the office. We were talking about them.
The VGAs. It's like, what do you call that? How do you pronounce acronyms, or what is that? Does that have a name? When you
Poorly? Is it poorly? Is that
is poorly the way it goes? I don't know. Yes, so the VGAs happened on Saturday. And,
the VGAs.
it was a very exciting thing that happened.
Keeping it classy.
Keeping it, at least, I don't even know anymore. But yeah, so this show is so weird. I don't know. Like, it's one of these things where it's like...
Did
it's
anybody
supposed
here actually watch like the full show?
Brendan did.
Oh, Brendan did.
Brendan and I had to
Brendan,
watch
you
it.
are a hero.
Wait,
You are doing the
I'm a
Lord's
hero.
work.
I'm a hero as well, right?
Well, maybe not so much. Brendan is a hero. You are. You're an anti-hero.
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 Anti-hero's there too.
Yeah. That's
On scene,
yeah.
doing it.
Got the word hero right in it.
Yeah.
Yeah, but this is a weird show because it kind of makes itself out to be the Academy Awards of the video game industry.
How so?
No?
It's on TV and they... Well, I was going to say and they give out awards, but even that's kind of like...
Can you back up your claim? Because they don't seem like they're trying to be the Oscars at all. They seem like they're trying to be a bunch of idiots, and they're succeeding.
Well, I mean, that's kind of the way. I don't know if you've seen a recent Oscar broadcast that's basically them being idiots.
No, it's not.
No?
Hugh Jackman was a delight.
Hugh Jackman is a national treasure.
No love for James Franco?
No. No, I'm sorry, James. You disappointed me. But no, come on.
Okay, so...
It is a travesty, though.
It is a travesty.
It is a travesty.
Of broadcast order. It's on national TV. Well, I guess it's on cable TV.
Yeah.
Which is whatever. Cable
Which is
TV.
still national
TV.
TV.
So this is the thing about the VGAs.
The VGAs.
Is it's on Spike TV. It is the biggest television presence the gaming industry has in the entire year. And a couple years ago, they realized that, wait, when we just give out awards, no one cares. Mm-hmm. Why don't we premiere some trailers there?
Right.
Publishers will trip over themselves to like, oh, we get to be on TV? Hot damn, that's great. And since then, it's like the trailers that they premiere, the announcements, are the actual content in the show because no one cares about those awards. But you can't cut out the awards because then you just have the tune into Spike's half hour of video game commercials. Debuts.
Well, I mean, it's weird because they also have. It's more than just commercials. It's game announcements. They've got
right, but it's new trailers basically.
Can I take this in a direction you might not appreciate? So people, it seems like the reason people don't care about the awards is that, like not to offend the people, but they're just a bunch of idiots type mentality. Like my opinion's right. I don't care what they say. Does this seem accurate?
Well,
like my favorite game was Mario. Why would I care what their favorite game is?
Their awards are pretty much. I mean, it's voted on by like a bunch of journalists throughout the industry. I'm not sure if we had a rep this year. I think we have in years past. But I mean, it's like one from GameSpot, IGN, everyone. Right. And in that sense, they're kind of like as legitimate as any others, maybe, except for like Game Developers Choice Awards.
I mean, yeah, the GDC awards are the
where
ones
you
that
actually have
matter.
the developers.
Because you've got the entire IGDA.
Well, even then, there's problems because game developers are busy making their games.
Well,
so the games that they play are going to be the big, high-profile, heavily marketed ones that everyone else would play.
But either way, like for the VGAs, like the general viewer doesn't care.
I'm glad that's a thing now.
They care more about their own opinions and they don't care about this. And it's weird just contrasting that with the Oscars because it's like, most people disagreed with King's speech last year, but we still respected it and we still watched it and we still talked about it.
Yeah.
Like this year, nobody's even talking about it. Nobody cares.
Wait, the
about
Oscars or the VGAs?
The VGAs. Nobody cares about it. And I guess is it just the audiences are so different, and that movie audience are more accepting of other beliefs and more like to discuss.
Well, yeah, because obviously when someone pans, Titanic or Avatar, a movie critic, people don't get in a twist about it.
Who's the troll critic that is always a contrarian?
Oh.
Because you know who I'm talking about.
But people, what I was going to say was Earl Dittman from Wireless Review, who's like, "What's this, a Wayans Brothers movie?" 2 thumbs up, 10 stars.
The guy who's always quoted in trailers.
Yeah.
But there is like a contrarian guy who people get upset about. But it seems like it's just like, because it'd be really cool to have our own Academy Awards. But I don't think it's possible with the audience who plays games.
Because gamers don't care about any dissenting opinion.
Yeah, basically.
They won't look at it and value it, and they won't look at the opinion and parse out like, oh, well, where are the valid points?
They can't take an objective look at it.
Yeah, well, like last year, like what, Red Dead probably won the VGAs?
The VGAs?
Almost certainly, yeah.
Like, I don't think people are interested in talking about like why they consider Limbo or Mass Effect 2 better, and why they like. It's not like you don't get that kind of discussion with this, and but like after King's speech and Social Network, like we had a lot of discussions in the office, and I did with my friends, and it's just.
Well, I mean, if you think about that, if you contrast that with it seems like the discussions take place beforehand. Because I'm thinking about our Game of the Year discussions, which, is that kind of debate. And so are you saying that it doesn't come from the audience or where should the discussion be taking place?
Honestly, I think it's symptomatic of the producers not understanding their audience. Because, obviously...
Was it the Jonas brother that came out that made you feel that way? Or?
It was just everything. Everything about this show. Because obviously you have a guy like Jeff Keighley, who's very highly involved in the VGAs, but he's also one guy in like a production crew of what's got to be dozens of people. Because this is a big show. It's Spike. I believe they're owned by Viacom. So you have like just this hugely massive corporate bureaucracy to answer to. And I'm sure at like every level of that management chain, it's probably like
we need a Jonah brother.
Yeah, all right, that sounds great, but get some Jonas Brothers in there.
Yeah.
Or okay, fine, that sounds great, but add this random celebrity. We need to, pizzazz it up. We need to.
Yeah.
And they just don't. These.
Are you
these
sure
people
about
don't understand their audience.
But I guess my question is though, like if they understood it, you understand the audience. We'll say, like if they understood it, how would they present it so people like me, like the average person who plays games, how would they care?
Before we get to that, I want to question whether or not this audience that you're talking about is the audience that they're going for. Clearly they don't understand us and what we would want from a Game Awards show. But
let me clarify: they don't understand the type of people who are interested in video game awards.
Who is interested in video game awards?
I would love for there to be a legitimate Oscar-level annual video game.
I always check out other sites and critics' Game of the Year stuff. I find that very interesting.
No, I would love for there to be something of that level of gravity in this industry.
Well, why haven't we given them that? GameSpot.com, the new Oscars.
Sure.
Well,
sure.
That's just another, gamer opinion thing. Like the Game Developers Choice Awards is a legitimate awards show that people care about. Like we write a news story up every year about who won the Game Developers Choice Award.
You saw how much traffic that story got.
It doesn't... Whether people, like our audience, actually clicks on that story versus whether or not it actually is newsworthy and should be reported, like those are different things.
That is very fair.
You will notice that this year we didn't even have a news story about who won the VGA awards.
Right.
The VGAs.
But you already talked about why the game developers. It's tough. When you're talking about like directors voting on best movies, they can see a bunch of movies. Game developers don't play 30 games.
With games,
40 games.
They
play the AAA blockbuster games. Maybe like a couple of them.
And it's easier to see a bunch of movies because it's 2 hours a pop, and they'll send you screeners if you're part of the academy and all that.
Yeah, so you get to watch them at home.
So really, the entire my analogy was just flawed because you can't actually have a one-for-one comparison.
Well, I guess I'm asking if it is possible, because I don't think it's even possible with the audience as I view it on the internet.
Right. It's possible. It's just like the gamer audience would have to change. They would have to accept that games. Games themselves would have to change too, because you would need games worthy of more critical dissection with more thematic elements.
There's a lot of good games.
There's a lot of that, but for the most part,
the popular
people
games
are like,
not.
oh, is it polished? Does it control well enough? Is there replay value past 5 hours? Like the things that people care about aren't the things that you can really look at with the critical eye from that Oscar's artistic perspective and like say, well, this deserves recognition.
I mean, I think there's enough games to go around. I mean, it's just that most of the popular ones might not fall into that, but I mean, even a lot of the popular ones even still are good for dissection and critical analysis.
So, as for the games that were actually announced, do we want to talk about that?
I want to talk about their winners. Can we talk about their winners?
I actually don't know.
There's one award that I was really happy about.
Oh, okay, which
best original song?
Bastion
song. They gave it to Build That Wall, which is maybe my favorite video game song ever. So that was for Bastion.
Oh, for Bastion.
Because I've listened to that soundtrack like a million times now. It's on my MP3 player. So I was very pleased about that. Just 'cause I love that song.
Congratulations, Bastion.
Tom's dedicated MP3 player. The last man in the world.
It's on my Android phone through an Amazon app on the cloud.
Okay.
Easier to say MP3 player.
Well, that was the one award that we can recount that happened.
I liked it.
No, it's fine.
I gotta
Command & Conquer Generals 2. That was the big announcement from BioWare. We finally got
from BioWare in quotes.
BioWare.
So my question is,
you cut away from your camera shot.
Why are people still making real-time strategy games?
Whoa!
Wait.
This genre is a dead genre.
That's a strange
question.
question.
Has been replaced wholesale by the Dota
genre.
That is the RTS genre of this day and age. What I don't understand, A, why is this game being made? B, how is it conceivable that they are competing with Activision in this genre? Like, I can see one of them just being like, oh, this is a pet project for us. We, remember the glory days of when the RTS genre was big. But now, I don't know. It just doesn't seem like it has a place.
EA wants to compete with Activision in every genre.
Okay.
You may have noticed Star Wars, The Old Republic, and Battlefield 3.
I did notice that.
So that's how this came to be?
Which games are these? I haven't heard.
No, they're in these genres called first-person shooter, which is apparently fairly niche and
military shooter.
And Mamarpurg. I heard of those on the Vudges.
Yeah, the Vudges were loaded with Mamarpurgs.
With Mamarpurgs and Fuppuzes.
So I think Macrino actually brings up an interesting point. I mean, there are interesting RTSs out there. Akron last year was like this crazy time manipulation and stuff, but it seems like we've kind of seen what we're going to see in the genre, and it's kind of stagnated.
I mean, if you even look
and StarCraft 2 is brilliant because it is so polished and so flexible, but it doesn't bring new stuff.
And it's for the amount of time that it took to make that game and the sales that it did. I don't know. I mean, my impression is that game sold well enough to justify its existence, but it didn't. It was no. This thing is going to blow up, or this has a potential or a future, which is what you typically expect from...
I think it sold really well and is kind of going to be the default real-time strategy for competitive gamers for years to come.
Forever.
And Blizzard has 2 more StarCraft 2s on the way.
Blizzard would have been crazy not to release that, and it was an awesome game. But I guess it's like a genre as a whole. It's not an evolutionary genre anymore.
Right.
Well, I mean, and certain genres come in and out of fashion all the time. That's the nature of this industry. I mean, like, we've had an awesome sort of like revolution in 2D platformers.
I was going to say platformers sucked for like 5 years.
To me, it's not surprising that they would try to revive the RTS genre. The interesting thing is that this is a BioWare developed game.
Not a BioWare developed game.
Okay, hold on. Camera back on me.
There
like
we go.
Brendan said, a BioWare developed game. Because
With
BioWare is becoming more of a brand now.
Man, I am so excited about the new Madden from BioWare Tiburon.
Right, using the Frostbite 2 engine.
That's going to be so
When
great.
is Madden going Frostbite 2? It's got to happen.
I don't know.
I can't wait.
Madden's always a decade behind the time, so 2021.
Okay. When they're on Frostbite 11,
yeah,
it'll be a Frostbite 2 game.
And they'll use that real-time city destruction kind of tech for the players' bodies. The running back's knees, right?
That's pretty good.
Finally, at last.
Just watch them crumble.
Real-time
which BioWare studio is doing this?
This is BioWare Victory, which was announced in February as Victory Games, the new Command & Conquer dedicated studio from EA.
Right.
So, and then they teased for the VGAs this whole new BioWare game coming out. And the whole time, it's just been this Victory Studios game that you already pretty much announced in February.
Yeah.
Right.
Making Command and Conquer Generals 2.
Because you have, all right, so what do they have now? BioWare Edmonton, BioWare Austin, BioWare Montreal, BioWare Mythic.
BioWare San Francisco, which is like BioWare Social.
BioWare
Basically, the Dragon Age
Social.
Facebook and an acquired studio they folded in there.
So, I mean, the BioWare name is... It's getting kind of
pretty
diluted,
diluted.
right?
Yeah,
definitely
totally.
doesn't mean-
Anything that is EA Games,
That's
that-
not a first-person shooter.
well, yeah.
They have Dice and they have Visceral.
Dice,
Yeah.
They have
Visceral, and BioWare.
And they have Criterion.
And I wouldn't be surprised.
BioWare Criterion would be pretty cool.
BioWare Criterion.
I wouldn't be surprised if Visceral and Criterion, they just say, screw it, it's all BioWare now.
Well, Criterion won't go away, but I could see Visceral going away. Criterion is... I like Criterion a lot.
Yeah.
It's weird because it's like, as a few years ago, like EA was like removing EA from the front of their studio names because they were going through that whole brand
EA LA
identity
and
process.
stuff.
for a
They
while.
have
But then they were
recognized
like-
for years that
Yeah.
the EA brand is poisonous
well,
to
it's
core
weird.
gamers.
I mean, just like we were talking about, like the cyclical nature of this industry, it's like a few years ago, I mean, like Dead Space was built by EA Redwood Shores, but then right before the game came out, they were like, actually, you know what? They're called Visceral Games now. We want them to have their own identity.
Yep.
And now it's just reverted back. It's like every game is BioWare.
Well, they wanted BioWare to have their own identity, and then
Right.
people liked
And now
that
it-
identity,
and
they
now every studio
yeah.
has the BioWare identity.
Well, it's weird because it seems like BioWare's identity people are becoming less and less enthused with
yeah
at this point.
since
Only-
Dragon
yeah.
Age 2.
Only because they're
Yeah.
making crappy games now.
Dragon
It's
Age,
not really-
Dragon Age 2, it had some taint to it. It kind of tainted the BioWare name.
a little bit.
Mass Effect 3 could pick them right back up, but it could also taint it further. depending
Yeah,
on how
I
it
mean,
goes.
looking at the
How about
That's a
Star
bold-
Wars: The Old Republic?
Oh, the
favorite.
Old Republic.
right.
That might taint the
That
hallowed
is-
BioWare Austin name.
Stinky Jedi taint right there.
Oh, God.
Taint.
All right.
Stinky Jedi taint.
I don't even know what I was about to say.
Segue from the stinky.
Segue.
Speaking of Jedi taint,
Epic Games announced Fortnite.
Which is, can we just call this out as like the best name?
Fortnite?
Fortnite.
I love that name. It's
That's
a
pretty good.
great name because you're
Yeah.
building a fort at night in Fortnite, and
I
But
get
they
it.
spelled it
And-
N-I-T-E.
that's whatever.
it's got to be streamlined.
I
Yeah.
really like the title. That's the best part
It
of
was
it.
We can only
definitely-
afford so many letters.
Yeah.
We
It
don't
was
have the
definitely
budget.
a game that I was not expecting at all
Right?
from Epic Games.
Yeah.
Like, this kind of just took me out of...
No, I mean it's definitely a stylistic change from what they've done over the past several years
Right.
with their meat-headed
Or no.
first-person.
But the idea
or
of, like,
third-person shooters.
Flexibility.
Yeah.
The MFPS genre.
MFPS.
Epic is all about flexibility with their Unreal stuff, so it's nice
Right.
that they're kind of going
Yeah,
back to
no.
like
Well, this looks like...
their stuff.
The style looked more like the People Can Fly studio. Like, it just had more vibrant colors.
Looked like Bulletstorm and Painkiller.
the artistic style, I guess.
I mean, to me, it looked more like Team Fortress 2
Yeah.
with zombies.
Okay.
Which
The
sounds cool to me.
speculation that I saw that sounded interesting to me was that this was going to be like a free-to-play or microtransaction-driven
Yeah.
sort of thing from Epic. And if that's the case, then
Well, we have some details on it. So, lead designer Lee Perry tweeted that Minecraft was a big inspiration for it. So, he said, I see a lot of questions asking if Fortnite is freeform construction. It is. It's not scripted or just boarding up existing structures. Minecraft lets you build anything. We are focusing on constructing buildings specifically. And then another kind of way it was described is during the daylight, the multiplayer experience will focus on building up a fortress through teamwork and sharing resources. This fortress becomes crucial when the sun goes down and undead rise. It's during this phase of the third-person perspective game that shooting zombies takes over. So that's kind of a general what it is.
I saw some people grumbling like, "Oh, it's just Minecraft." It's like
no,
there are two games that are like Minecraft and Terraria. And I
Yeah.
guess Fortress Craft if you count that one. But it's like I don't mind.
This sounds more like Rampart.
Rampart,
It could
Which
be
is-
like Ramparts.
which is really interesting.
Which is a
'cause
great
we
game.
haven't really seen any Rampart-esque games since Rampart.
No, we haven't,
Which is a
but
travesty.
Yeah.
Tetris with building and
Yeah.
Well, Rampart's awesome because it's got these two distinct gameplay segments. The first one is where you're building a wall, a fort around your cannons.
with
and
Tetris
then-
style peaches.
Right. And then the other one is just where you're shooting holes into the other dude's fort.
Yeah.
It's a pretty good formula.
It's a pretty good comparison for that. But I mean, it was weird seeing people lament like this is similar to something else when it's like there are so many games are really similar to each other. That like this is different than almost everything out there except Terraria and Minecraft.
And it's at least different from what Epic's been doing.
Yeah, it's a studio with some very successful franchises doing a new IP in a style that they haven't really done before.
And it looks kind of exciting and fun. Yeah. So
plus, as horrible as to say, like a really polished, like expensive budget Minecraft clone sounds kind of appealing.
Could be cool.
Could be cool.
I'm happy to see Epic sort of stretch its
So
legs.
that's coming out March 2012. So look for it really soon.
Yeah, just right around the corner. Yeah.
Do we know? I actually have no idea when it's coming out.
It's coming out 2013 probably.
Yeah,
oh, really?
50 years away.
Yeah.
Okay. Yes.
Speaking of zombies,
do it. The Last of Us?
The Last of Us, the new game from Naughty Dog, was announced at the VGAs.
The VGAs?
So this one looks kind of interesting.
I mean, I have no idea. I felt nothing while watching this trailer. I just couldn't figure out what I was supposed to be thinking.
So basically, what I got from this trailer is that it's basically like, it's kind of like The Road.
Okay.
You have a father and a daughter, and they seem to be sort of surviving on their own in this post-apocalyptic zombie wasteland. And what intrigues me about that is that it's a Naughty Dog game.
Right.
These guys do story and characters exceptionally well.
It's true.
And, I mean, yes, post-apocalyptic zombie wasteland is something that's been done a million times. But then again, on paper, the Uncharted series doesn't sound that interesting.
It's true. It's like just Indiana Jones or Tomb Raider or something.
You're forgetting the most important part of this game.
That
the creative director is the same guy that did Enslaved, which is one of my favorite games. For like the 360. So
and Enslaved had that mechanic of like a big strong guy and a tech wonderkin.
Creative director, what did he do on Enslaved?
I think he created it.
And
I think he created
a little direction.
His name is Steve Ninja Theory.
I don't know exactly what his role was in either game, but he was
the creative director of the Last of Us. Worked on Uncharted 2.
Well, one of the big roles, apparently. I don't know exactly, I'm sorry. But it is one of the people who worked on Enslaved is now on this.
What McShay is saying is someone who at some point
worked on Enslaved,
which is awesome,
is now working on The Last of Us?
The Last of Us at Naughty Dog.
Because like the head of Ninja Theory, Tameen Antoniadis, is still at Ninja Theory. And he's their creative director.
Man, I don't want to have to do research on this.
You should do research and find out who that is.
We here on the HotSpot enjoy and endorse throwing out completely fallacious information.
There was
Enslaved lead designer.
Lead designer. What's his name?
Yeah, what's his name? Huh?
Mark Richard Davies.
Mark Richard Davies. Okay.
So now he's working on The Last of Us. So it's like, because I'm not a big Naughty Dog fan, but I'm a big Ninja Theory fan.
Well, you're not a big Naughty Dog?
No.
You love Uncharted. What?
I love Uncharted 2. I don't like any of their stuff previous except for Jack.
You liked Uncharted 1.
I like Uncharted.
Okay.
I don't like their stuff previous except for the first Jack.
I'm not even sure that's
Way of the
Warrior.
Warrior.
At this point.
You love Way of the Warrior.
No, I don't like Crash. I don't like Jack 2 and 3 or 4.
You didn't even like the first Jack and Daxter?
Yeah, I wouldn't say I'm a Naughty Dog fan. They're not like Insomniac, who I just think is awesome.
Okay.
They're a developer who I like and I'm interested in, but I'm not like,
Yeah.
I'm usually not like enamored with their stuff. So when you put in Enslaved and Ninja Theory, people will laugh, but I just really like their 2 games that I've played. I did not play their racist
Well,
game,
I am.
Chaos.
Oh, that was so awful.
I didn't play it.
Oh, that was wretched. That one made me feel like a terrible human being for like playing the game on the Xbox even.
So
I can't support.
Do we know
this.
if Andy Serkis is involved in this?
Andy Serkis? Why would we?
No,
because
he was Monkey and Enslaved,
and he was Bohan in Heavenly Sword.
Because one guy from Ninja Theory is working on this, and
it's just like I'm taking all the good folks at Ninja Theory. Andy Serkis.
When he moved from England to Santa Monica, he packed Andy Serkis in a suitcase.
Andy Serkis is like, I think I can do this. Let's
go. I can fit. I'm very agile. I was Gollum.
I think the whole thing is that like someone from Ninja Theory is really good friends with Andy Serkis, so that's why he's in their games.
So if we're watching
maybe it's this dude.
If we're watching The Last of Us and the girl moves like an ape, we know that it was Andy Serkis.
Yeah.
She did look. Maybe Andy Serkis is doing all the zombies in this game, like each and every single one of them.
Mocapping every one of the zombies.
He's either got to be in this or DMC.
The man is a genius. He'll take on any role.
Seriously, he's going to be nominated for Best Supporting Actor
in a video game.
I
don't know. So anyway, when I was watching this trailer, I couldn't tell if it was CG. It probably wasn't, considering that
it was all in-engine.
It was all engine. Yeah, because
I think it says at the beginning of the trailer.
Oh, it's all in engine.
All gameplay footage.
So someone who is working on the game, where is his name? Naughty Dog creative director Neil Druckmann said that he's been working on it for 2 years already.
Yeah, they apparently started this right after Uncharted 2. They basically
they split the studio
into
two teams, right?
Yeah. It's coming out the end of 2012 or the beginning of 2013.
Yeah, you think
within
so?
like that 6 month. No, they announced it officially within that 6 month period. It's coming out. Then.
Oh, I missed that.
So I'm looking forward to it a lot because new IP, Enslaved, Naughty Dog's craftsmanship.
Did you like the trailer?
I don't care about the trailer.
Okay, because like at the end of the trailer, like, when they come out and it's like downtown overgrown with weeds and stuff.
The thing that go ahead.
I just thought like the two things that I thought of were the
Will Smith movie. Exactly,
Legend,
I was right there.
And Sound of Thunder.
Sound of Thunder?
I love both of those.
I don't think
movies.
I know what Sound of Thunder is.
Oh, it had Gandhi in it. Gandhi was the star of it. It was so good.
It just
I don't know if you're being an actual or serious.
It's Ben Kingsley.
It's a really terrible
Who doesn't say no.
Movie.
He doesn't say no.
Yeah.
Ever.
The man has a problem with boundaries.
I wouldn't say it's a problem, Grano.
So it's supposed to be this, awesome reveal that takes your breath away or something, and it's just like I've seen this before in very popular pop culture. Sound of Thunder, for instance.
And I saw it opening day.
Very popular culture.
Yeah. And
like
it's
Sound of
like,
Thunder.
how is this supposed to register with me? How's this supposed to have impact on me? Because I know that CG in games and such can do pretty much whatever CG in movies can do now. So why is that supposed to hit home with me? It completely didn't resonate with me at all. Although I think it could be a cool game, but that trailer itself was just like.
No, I mean that was why I was having problems feeling anything after watching, because I'm like, yes, this looks very pretty, and you have some maybe interesting things going, but I just didn't feel anything out of that.
Yeah, I mean, the trailer didn't blow me away. In fact, I'm a little worried that the daughter character is going to be a little too annoying and plucky.
Right,
that's sort of my concern.
Oh, I hate pluck.
How many like average games have had terrific trailers? I mean, we saw the Dead Island trailer last year, so trailers don't really.
No, yeah,
I'm not putting too much faith in the trailer. What I care about is it's a new IP from Naughty Dog, and that's a studio that I have a lot of faith in.
Wait, you're worried about? Isn't the girl played by Ellen Page?
No.
What?
Didn't we talk about that in the office
that
today?
that was a joke.
Oh, someone lied to me.
That was something that someone wrote on Wikipedia.
I just kind of believe what I hear when I'm told.
I can't even fathom why you would do that.
Well, you realize that Ellen Page is a fictional human being, and she's actually played by Andy Serkis in real life.
He's
scripted
good.
by Dakota Fanning, or what's her name? Who wrote
Diablo Cody?
Diablo Cody.
Diablo Cody.
And or
the stripper, not the child actress.
Dakota Fanning. I don't know.
I just watched this few episodes of this show Regenesis, where Ellen Page got her start. It's like a Canadian medical CSI almost.
It's like Degrassi.
Yeah, and she's like 13,
nice
and she plays
thing.
the exact same Ellen Page character she plays in everything. It's infuriating.
She's not a great actress, but
it's
she
the same
cool.
as like
she was fine in Inception.
Yeah, she's good.
She was harmless.
In Super, I love the way her character's storyline was resolved in Super.
What was I don't even
so awesome.
I don't know if I've heard of Super.
Give up her baby or what happened?
No, you should just see it.
Okay.
It stars Rainn Wilson from The Office and was directed by what's his name? Guy that did Slither, is working with Suda51.
Andy Serkis.
Andy
Serkis
is the name with an M. I don't. Dude, his name is Dude McDuder.
Yeah, he also does PG-rated porn. I think.
Right.
So it's like a YouTube clip of mainstream acceptable takes on pornography.
Tell us more about your
Showtime
pornography. What are we talking about anymore?
I don't know.
Can we go back to games, please?
Yes.
No, actually,
I was really liking this pornography theme.
Can we go back to Jedi Taint, or is that like we're too?
No, we're done with the Jedi and the taint.
The conversation stunk.
Metal Gear Rising: Revengeance.
It had a taint. Oh, Metal Gear Rising: Revengeance.
We want to move on to that one.
Yeah.
So the studio behind
James Gunn. That's who I was thinking of. James Gunn.
Jimmy Gunn.
I'm sorry. Please proceed.
The studio behind Bayonetta and Vanquish, Platinum Games, has taken over production on this game.
Yeah. So according to Joystick, or I maybe some other blog.
Known liars.
The original Metal Gear Solid Rising was canceled and then given over to Platinum.
I mean, that's what it. Looking at the changes that were made to this game, they changed it from a stealth and action game to just an action game. Yeah. They reoriented the story. They did some other things, probably changed the studio. It sounds like they just completely rebooted this game. which
It even says that in the trailer. Rebooted.
Well,
right before it says
right.
Revengeance.
So the word, is it we canceled this Rising and then
It
took
seems
it
pretty
because
apparent.
we can't cancel a Metal Gear game.
Oh yeah, I mean,
Certainly.
given that we've heard nothing about this game for like a year and a half now, since E3 of 2010.
TGS, I think, but yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it only makes sense.
Yeah.
And it seems to be a pretty big stylistic change from what we saw before. I'm cautiously excited about this.
I'm excited about this.
Yeah.
Caution,
Cautiously?
throw it to the wind.
This is the guy in charge is Inaba, who worked on games like Beautiful Joe.
Did you just call him a knob?
Inaba?
The guy in charge is Inaba.
It's Platinum. I mean, I know Mad World isn't great, but it's still Platinum. I'm all over this. This is gonna be awesome.
It might be all right.
I mean,
My head is fully in the ring. Is that a thing you can do? Is that a saying?
Your hat.
My head is in the ring.
Thank you.
I threw in the towel. Everything is in the ring.
I don't even know what we're talking about.
I'm excited for this
Inaba.
game.
We're talking about
Atsushi Inaba, who did Beautiful Joe and Devil May
Atsushi,
Cry
right.
and Bayonetta.
Helped on those. He's not Kamiya, who was like the lead guy for those.
Okay.
But still, like this is the guy who's worked with Kamiya. He's like been in the same room as Kamiya. He will make an awesome game.
Is Andy Serkis involved?
I hope so.
He's playing Raiden. Or actually, he's playing one of the new Metal Gears that will be in there. He's going robot on us.
He's playing a Metal Gear.
He is playing a nuclear weapon.
Wow.
I don't know. But no, I think I'm cautiously optimistic.
Yeah, you guys
It
are
seems like
boring
it's a
with
good-
your
I
caution.
I loved Bayonetta.
Yeah.
I didn't love Vanquish as much as you guys did, although I still thought it was a really, really good game. It's just because Metal Gear Solid is one of those franchises that holds a very special place in my heart, and I'm very oddly sensitive about that series. So,
Right.
and Tom, I know, is sort of different about it.
This isn't
Tom?
Metal Gear Solid, by the
yeah,
way.
yeah.
This is just Metal
game
Gear.
is
I
gonna
know it's Metal
feel-
Gear, but I mean, you know what
It's
I
going
mean.
to feel very different than
Yeah.
Metal
Yeah.
Gears.
What
And
you-
I feel like people are going to flip out about that.
Yeah, I'm maybe a little irrationally protective of that series, which is why I'm a little more cautious about it. But I mean, I think Platinum is a very talented studio, so
Definitely.
I'm excited to see what happens.
What did you think of Metal Gear Solid 4? Because
I
McShay and I both had that as our game of the year, hands down.
right. I mean, I thought it was a terrific game. It wasn't the best Metal Gear Solid game. I'll just leave it there. I thought it was a little overly indulgent, and the story dragged, but at the same time, it was still a quality game. I liked it quite a bit.
I think we gave it a 10.0.
We gave it a 10.0.
Somewhere around
a 10. So one of the
10.0.
things I'm curious about next year now, Platinum makes awesome games that bomb. Ninja Theory makes awesome games that sell 12 copies.
Yeah.
Now those both are in charge of
You can't put Ninja Theory in charge of Naughty Dog. There's no...
Ninja Theory is making DMC. Platinum Games is
I'm
making
sorry.
a
I was
Metal
thinking
Gear
of that
game.
other Ninja studio.
Yes. So
Sorry.
there's-
That's my bad.
There's these developers who never sell anything now in charge of big franchise. I'm curious if they're going to sell because I really want people to recognize these guys are awesome.
Yeah.
So we'll see.
Oh,
I
they're
got my fingers
definitely
crossed.
mixing it up for both of those franchises. It's not just
Yeah.
just another
You
installment.
give
in there.
Platinum DMC? Well, that's almost too obvious because
Yeah.
Kamiya invented DMC.
It's like, okay,
But it's like people would be a little more excited. But yeah, this is exciting because I want people to recognize that these are awesome developers. And then there's The Last of Us,
And then there's
which is clearly a Ninja Theory game.
Wait, which I'm completely. Why am I blanking on what studio made Enslaved?
Ninja Theory.
Ninja Theory.
No, you're not blanking on anything. The
Oh.
one dude from Ninja Theory left to go
Okay.
work
Yeah.
with Naughty
Okay.
Dog.
And now Ninja Theory is working on
Ninja
DMC.
Theory has
DMC.
been
DMC.
Yes.
DMC.
Ninja
was-
Theory was dissolved when Steve Ninja Theory left
Taking
to work
Andy
at Naughty
Serkis
Dog.
with him. In a
And now
bag.
it's been rebuilt. It's just Andy Serkis now. And he's
Who
sitting
is
there-
actually at Naughty Dog and
He's
Ninja
like
Theory.
the Star Wars kid right now, just doing Dante's
Yeah.
moves in a studio somewhere.
He's just
There's no
hunkered down.
cameras.
He's got a laptop in Cambridge, England, and he's just programming DMC.
It's actually in his basement
Yeah.
with his mom upstairs.
Yeah,
Which is
exactly.
weird, but it works for him.
So that's how DMC is going
Yeah.
right now.
I'm excited for DMC.
Okay, so we had a few more games. Alan Wake, American Night. What?
Oh, I was just going to mention another trailer that I loved.
Oh, go.
Was it Alan Wake? Because that would be really smooth segue.
It was the Transformers trailer. This is a game that I have.
I remember
This
almost distinctly Brendan saying, "Oh my God, worst trailer in the past decade."
Yes, but also best trailer in the past decade.
Okay.
I have no interest in playing this game. I don't care about Transformers as a franchise whatsoever. But the trailer was amazing.
It was.
Yeah. I don't know about
cinematic.
It was sad robot tragedy to like a weird kind of like folksy, somber acoustic number.
I got a lump in my throat when the one giant robot was holding the other giant robot.
I think that Carolyn
walking through like the dust in the rain, like
See, my lump came when giant badass robot said, "Yeah, I got your guys' back. Let's do this. Let's do this."
And then the bunch of robots combined into one bigger robot,
and they're like, "Oh, it's on!"
So you guys are all joking, right? I'm watching this trailer now, and it's kind of junk. But I don't have any attachment.
It's amazing junk.
A little junk.
It is.
Terrific. Do you know how much hate I got for
perhaps scrap metal?
I reviewed the War of Cybertron. I gave like a 6 or 6.5, and I got so much hate, which is just weird because that game is so like a nothing except for the license.
Yeah. Well, that license is,
Yeah, but I don't rate licenses.
Well, maybe you should.
And
give it a shot. You might like it.
And this goes back to why we can't have an Oscars because I mean. No one's like, yes, Transformers 3 was great because it has my favorite Transformers in it.
Whereas Optimus Prime was totally in part of that movie.
Yeah, but that's kind of what happens. He turns into a dinosaur in this trailer. This is a good trailer.
It is the best trailer from all of the VGAs in the history of the VGAs since the dawn of man.
Until I saw the dinosaur. If I get to play as a dinosaur, that game is going to get like a higher score because I like dinosaurs.
He is a fire-breathing dinosaur, if it's any consolation.
It was amazing. Put everything else to shame.
Really like the Transformers that combine into one larger robot because it just makes me think that he should be wearing a trench coat with a hat and trying to sneak into a movie theater or something.
All right. Can we put a cap on the VGAs for this year? My lasting impression of the VGAs is...
Weren't you going to talk about Alan Wake?
Oh, I don't know.
What else is there
anything to say about Alan Wake?
There's an Alan Wake coming.
There's another Alan Wake that looks like the last Alan Wake, and I don't like scary games, so I don't like this game.
I'll have a write-up on it next week, actually, early next week.
Look for that on the website. I don't know where on the website.
GameSpot.com.
Okay.
/ Alan Wake / previews flashlight / index.html.
Right. That last part is the most important.
:
Oh, sorry. 8080.
Kitten movies.
Also, Tekken Tag 2 coming to PS3 and 360 next holiday season.
Right.
That was from the VGAs.
Also, Tony Hawk is getting an HD remake.
Tony Hawk HD.
The one thing I'll say about that game, if it does not have the original soundtrack, every single song, I'm going to be pissed.
There's no way.
Well, then I'm already pissed.
You know what it should have? It should have the Earthbound soundtrack. Just to really piss off people.
It should have the Band Hero soundtrack.
No, I want Earthbound because that's the only reason Earthbound isn't on the Virtual Console, and I want to play that game.
The soundtrack? I don't
know.
Okay.
There's like licensing issues. Nintendo doesn't want to pay. I don't know.
I'm just glad the game's being handled by Robomoto because after doing like Tony Hawk, Shred, and whatever, they should get a chance to make a real game.
Yeah.
And show people that it's like, no, it was, the controller that
So they're
going
to do an HD upgrade of a 15-year-old game. This is their real game.
That is their real game.
But it's going to be awesome.
Still a real game.
At least they don't have to beg through Kickstarter to get this game made.
Yeah.
Oh.
Anyway, so my lasting impression of the VGAs is all of the games that were announced were kind of also RAAM announcements. Like, none of these games are going to be the big
Metal
game.
Gear. I would say Metal Gear is not an also RAAM.
I kind of got the... If you're looking at it as a reboot of Rising, it's almost not even a game announcement.
Okay.
But
Last of Us is not an also RAAM.
That's true. There is that.
Although, I mean, like...
Fortnite? Do you realize that Fortnite could be one of those, like, 10 million takes the world by storm type games?
Fortnite is not.
Well, remember last
League
year...
of Legends Money Factory?
It could be... I mean, Fortnite?
Yeah.
You're talking about Epic, who made Unreal.
It's not a Gears of War franchise.
What the hell is Gears of War?
We're going to talk about Gears of War as soon as Chris Waters gets up here.
He's not getting up here.
Which hopefully is imminent.
I will say, I do see your point. At last year's VGAs, they did announce Skyrim.
Right.
Which,
Scrim.
pretty big game.
Fairly big.
It was a big game until it took an arrow to the knee.
Right. And we shat upon it last
I
Friday.
think did they announce Batman at last year's?
Yeah, they did. Arkham City was announced at last
I still
year's
think
VGAs.
Fortnite could just be like
the
massive
next big thing. It might be.
It's something that you gotta.
You've seen nothing of the game to judge it on.
No.
You saw a teaser trailer.
I know.
Well, we do know that it is being developed by Ninja Theory.
Ninja Theory.
So,
there's a janitor from Ninja Theory who now works at Epic.
Okay, yeah.
So he has some involvement, some hands-on, mop-on involvement.
Great.
Great.
Yeah.
We're gonna put a peg in this discussion because we need to bid adieu.
Speaking of zombies,
Chris,
reanimated.
hot tag.
Oh no,
that's totally
what's
the wrong
happening
story.
to-
I was doing.
wait,
I was
where's
trying to do
Brendan
the
going? Brendan,
overhead.
come back.
Wait,
Oh
Brendan, I
yeah,
never said goodbye
Chris
to you.
Waters here,
Come
folks.
back.
Just
Oh,
in time
no.
to save this podcast from itself.
Yeah, you actually have no idea. We've used the phrase "vajas" perhaps 100 times.
I don't know. I don't want to hear what that is or know what it is.
Okay, we'll talk about Jedi Taint again.
Yeah, we did.
Again.
Okay, so we are going to move on to
Yeah,
the game.
we were talking about Taint for a while.
We did talk
Don't worry
about
about
a
it.
little bit of Jedi.
Yeah.
It's delightful.
It was
Jedi
not my
Taint.
fault. Not my fault.
It was. It was.
It was
In fairness, it was your fault. You really got us on that Taint wagon, and you just had us there for a while, riding the Taint wagon.
And a mount.
Oh no.
No, okay, so we're going to talk about Gears of War 3. Sort of.
Super.
We're going to talk about the DLC pack that has just come out or is just coming out
It's
or
out.
will soon be out.
It is out. It was out on Tuesday.
So this is a single-player addition to the Gears of War 3 main storyline, or where does this fit in?
No, well, it is
prequel.
it is a single player edition, but it is a prequel, and it's not just a prequel to Gears of War 3. It's a prequel to all the Gears of Wars ever.
Oh, really? Can you, you're too tall for the camera. Can
Okay.
You, can you?
How about-
there we go.
Slouch a little
That's
bit.
good.
Yeah.
So it's a prequel to the Gears of War everything.
Yeah, it takes place still during the Locust War, but before the events of Gears of War 1. You don't meet Marcus, you don't meet Dom. You play as Zeta Squad,
Okay.
who is consisted of 2 new-to-video games characters and 2 dudes you have seen before.
I'm gonna try
Mario
to,
and Luigi.
I'm gonna try to
Yes.
describe them. They have kind of small heads but super big shoulders, and they're wearing this big metal thing, and their feet are literally that big.
So I see you've met Michael Ballack.
Yeah, I have.
And he's got a cigar, and he's a gruff,
Oh, right, cigar. I forgot.
he's a gruff former stranded, conscripted into the COG armies, and the other new character is Alicia, who is a lady COG, who
Lady
is not nearly
Lady Cow.
is not nearly as brash or caricature-y as
because she's a lady.
Anya
That would be
or
disrespectful.
Sam in Gears of War 3, which if you're a character in the Gears of War universe, but you're not a caricature, or at least exaggerated in some way, you come off as kind of lame.
Okay.
And so she's kind of
lame.
Yeah.
So my question about this game is, this is a single player expansion, and
Yes.
typically we get multiplayer.
Well,
expansions.
single player, of course, in Gears of War is relative because it's a campaign expansion, and you can
co-op.
play it 4-player co-op.
That's true.
Online or not offline.
But I just kind of found it interesting from the standpoint that they're releasing single player content when in the past they've mostly done multiplayer only maps.
They've already released some multiplayer DLC.
No, yeah, I know. But I'm just wondering if we're seeing a trend here, of releasing single player components to games after the main games comes out. I'm saying that in light of a quote that we got this week from Obsidian Chief Creative Officer Chris Avalone talking about digital distribution. He said, "I love digital distribution. One of the things I enjoyed with Fallout New Vegas was that digital distribution of DLC makes things more flexible in terms of getting the content done. You don't have to worry about production time for discs, and so you can take an extra week if you need to get things right. Of course, one of the greatest things about digital distribution is what it does to reduce the used game market. I hope digital distribution stabs the used game market in the heart."
Yikes. That dude's got some strong feelings.
Right, so a few strong feelings. But I'm wondering, if we're going to see more... I don't know. It's this is the way to get games cheaper to people. If they're able to do a $40 release of a good game and then make it a great game through $20 add-on expansion.
Right.
Wait, what?
I mean,
Does
cheaper
that-
is a relative term here because
Horrible game. If I bought a good game, why would I want to spend more money to make it great? What is the guarantee it's going to be great?
Yeah, well, okay, so a small, really good game. Well, I mean, a small, high-quality game that is updated with additional high-quality
You know what's
content.
even better than that? Like a small, high-quality game that's cheap that gets free content added all the time. Minecraft and Terraria are out there. Mate Boy is out there. You got this is the competition. I'm not paying for the updates in those games.
But if you can spend a lot of money, like if they're going to continue this trend of spending a lot of money on something, they need a better way to make money back. And this seems like a pretty good way to do it with single player editions like RAAM Shadow.
Well, so are you talking about you're talking about the initial release of this hypothetical game as being cheaper than a full release.
Right.
So are you saying a scenario in which like Gears of War comes out and it's the first 3 acts of the next game and then it's $40, but then for $20 more you get acts 4 and 5, and maybe there's a semi-satisfying conclusion at the end of 3, but then if we really want to play 4 and 5
or it could just be like a in the case of Gears of War, the first act is $20, and that can go retail and digital distribution, and then I guess it would almost be making it episodic in this way. Where the next act is another $20, and if you just want to keep playing, if you buy the whole game, that's still $60. Or you can just buy like a certain component of it.
I have a feeling that a lot of people would just buy 1 act or 2 acts. I would have bought 1 act of 3, and then I would have been done with it. I think a lot of people are in that boat, so I think it's a bad idea. No offense.
No, it's fine.
I mean, it is interesting to see with Gears of War 3 because, as Sean mentioned, this is, they've done Horde DLC, now they're doing the campaign DLC, but you can, they have a season pass, which is sort of buy all the DLC for less. So they are clearly sort of experimenting with new ways to deliver this stuff and at what kind of price point you deliver it. Thanks.
What is actually going on right?
I didn't realize that was going to change anything.
Do that, please.
I'm really sorry.
I've got a nice handheld camera here. If you want to switch to this hand, can you switch to
He's new to video, folks. It's a little strange for him.
It's not
on.
I was like, what happens if I just twist this camera a little bit?
Well, thank you for that. I completely lost my train of thought.
Amateur hour up in here.
As Chris Waters has as well.
So you're still talking about releasing an incomplete game, and that's the biggest problem. You can't release incomplete games. So you got to figure out how to release. I mean, I would be all over the $40 for single player, $20 for multiplayer because I don't play multiplayer. Yeah. That'd be great for me.
That could be interesting. Yeah.
Yeah, I guess I'm just thinking about the ways in which developers can use digital distribution.
You know, it's a good way. Charging $75 for 1 car Need for Speed. Done.
Yeah.
Solved the world's problems. Fed children. Clothed the homeless.
Okay, thank you very much.
That's a real thing. They just did that. If you read Brendan Sinclair's Twitter, he was
that's
outraged.
An actual thing?
Yeah, Brendan Sinclair's
what
Twitter
kind of
was
car
talking
was
about
it.
It's
a deluxe Koenigsegg.
It shot fire out of the exhaust. I know this. I could see with the.
So in one more way, Need for Speed is exactly like Cruisin' USA.
No, so this is the free-to-play Need for Speed PC game. Yeah.
Need for Speed World or Need for Speed Online.
Yeah. Which still, it's a $100 car that shoots fire out of it.
But it's on sale for $75. So
it's on sale. Yeah, I mean, get it while it's cheap. $75 for
and while it's hot
for a Koenigsegg. That's a pretty good deal.
It's a great
deal.
Yeah.
Hit the gas
hold on. It's an actual car, right? They will deliver it to your home.
No, $75 for I mean
virtual?
Obviously.
So it says
shipping you'll probably have to pay.
Too expensive for a virtual car.
Their
what
PR
else
says hit the gas in the game's massive open world to witness epic flames spit out of the 4 rear exhaust pipes.
4
exclamation points.
Come on. That's just excessive.
Yeah. So anyway, back to the question at hand.
The car farts fire.
Your mom farts fire.
Your mom is a classy lady.
Valiant try, Magrino. Keep on soldiering on.
I don't even know
You're
what
almost
just
there.
happened. At least it's not live like that train wreck on Friday. It was a little bit of a live calls are an awful thing. Gave it a go, never again. Probably never again. Probably never again. Anyway, so I'm just kind of thinking about what I'm trying to get in the head of developers, and if they're trying to combat used game sales, and if they are trying to cut out the retailer or just alleviate the retail pressure. Like this, I don't know. For whatever reason, I'm seeing this as them going down a new road, and maybe I'm wrong, but
no, I mean, this is definitely an experiment that the games industry has been trying for the past several years, which is that you sell people a new game and you give them a reason to hold on to that copy instead of selling it back to the stores.
Right.
And I think Epic is certainly taking it a step farther by doing this season pass program where you can buy all of the DLC up front at a pretty significant discount.
Yeah, I mean that's a
and
lot of people
Call of Duty has done this too.
Yeah.
Who was the first? Was it LA Noire?
It's happened before.
No.
Oh yeah,
it was-
Rockstar did it with.
I don't
LA
remember
Noire as
anyone
well.
before LA Noire
It
doing a
was
season.
EA Sports who first announced it.
Yeah.
I feel like, and
So-
then
The Madden.
They have
Uncharted did it as well.
EA Sports
Yeah.
is a horrible way to do it.
No, EA has led in all of these new digital
yeah.
distribution. Like
Yeah,
the
absolutely.
online pass was EA. This is
Thanks EA.
the season pass was EA.
$75 for a car. That is EA.
For cars.
So yeah, I mean, it certainly represents a larger trend of the games industry sort of like feeling out the digital distribution market as a method to combat used game sales.
Yeah, I think till
I
this.
totally agree.
I think till this point we've seen it largely implemented as a way to add value after
Right.
the fact to a complete product, and sort of what Tom I think is getting at here is. At one point, does it then infiltrate back up into the development pipe to a significant degree? Not just like I paid to get Gears of War 3, and now there's this extra chapter. This is crap. This should have been on the disc.
Right.
But in a way that actively affects the product from its very inception and what
Exactly.
kind of thing they're trying to deliver down the
Yeah.
line and how they're going to deliver it.
There's certain games that work better with this, and like a single player model is a little tougher. Because if you're talking about Metal Gear Revengeance having this, I'd be like, well, no, I want the whole single player game there.
Yeah.
right? And I think Epic is sort of learning from past failures with this model, in so much as the RAAM Shadow is like it's a meaningful story experience that's a prequel to the entire franchise. It's not like this sort of like tacked on
Oh yeah.
pro or epilogue, you know?
Well,
I thought
Which
you were
a
gonna say.
lot of DLC in the past couple of years has felt like.
I thought you were gonna say their previous failures by saying how they gave away tons and tons and tons of free stuff for the Unreal tournament games.
No. I'm talking about games.
We regret like engendering all that goodwill with people.
I mean, like single player games where they release like story content that just feels completely unnecessary. It's like tacked on.
like I was gonna say everything for Heavy Rain, but they canceled it after the taxterm.
Well, it seems
Yeah.
like this is the kind
one.
of story that they would tell in a novel. Like instead of doing a novel, they did kind of this DLC, which is kind of interesting.
And it's cool to do with the Gears of War franchise because there's like extensive comics and like
Right.
novels that actually exist in addition to the video game that sort of flesh out that world. And
And
so
the-
there is a lot of material to draw on.
And that Michael Barrett character previously only existed in the comics, I believe.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, I guess it is a good way to get new content in or expand the universe in meaningful ways. How'd you like it? Was it good?
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
fun. I gotta say, I mean, you talk about it expanding the universe in meaningful ways. I think that I like what they've done in drawing on it, but I think that going all the way back to before Gears 1 is really alienating because that whole series has just been first off, about Delta Squad, and second off, about this constant narrative arc pushing forward. So especially with, how much better Gears of War 3 was from a story perspective than its predecessors, this one feels like a step back.
Regressive.
There is some serious novelty because you get to play as General RAAM and his goon squad, but
Goon Squad.
which is fun, and you get to like control his like swarm of horrible bat things and just shred up these cog soldiers. Krill. Indeed. But those parts feel just like murder sprees because you're the elite of the elite, and you're like,
pretty good at murdering.
The cog is, unless you're playing
Murder
like
is what you do really
on
well.
a very elevated difficulty level and being, you don't have to really exercise much caution playing as those guys. So it's very novel and it's pretty shallow.
I mean, yeah, I had forgotten that the Gears of War 3 closes out that trilogy. So this is kind of interesting also because it's probably it might be like trying to get people used to the idea of, okay, we're done with Marcus Phoenix largely, we're gonna move on, like this franchise still exists, we have places to go with it.
And I think that they do have a lot of potential there. Like I think given a better, you play as Ty or Min, who are characters you've been able to play as in previous Gears games, but given sort of a stronger connection to the main games, or even had they built the main games with some of this episodic stuff sort of built in to like make that part of how it's organized, so you get used to these incongruous glimpses of other fronts and stuff like that. I think that it could work very well. That wasn't the format of Gears of War throughout its entire run so far, but conceivably in another game or in a different development sort of philosophy, you could build in that you have these episodic things, and that's part of the natural way the world comes together, so that when they come as DLC, they're much more appealing and accessible, and you kind of have some practice making these smaller, isolated experiences.
Yeah.
You know what would be a good thing to do with the DLC?
What's that?
Experiment. Like, I haven't played...
Isn't this an experiment?
I haven't played Gears, the Shadow of Ra. I haven't played this game. Was it Ra?
Ra
Shadow?
Ra
The Egyptian
Shadow.
sun god?
Yes.
Yeah.
It sounds like it's just more Gears from what you said. Like, this is where you say, what could we do with this franchise and try to push it in, like, different ways? And it might suck and it might be awesome, but it seems like that's what DLC should be. It's trying to kind of push the mold slightly. So maybe you have Gears of War 4 already, like, being pushed in a certain direction, maybe, if it turns out good. Like, that's what I'd want to see.
And you
Like, I don't necessarily want more of the same. I want to see...
Well, you could argue that bringing the beast mode thing of playing as the Locust into the campaign is them doing that, you know? And I think that they certainly, you know, it feels like a good fit, and you also have Queen Mira is sort of in your ear throughout, which is a cool touch, because you know as a Gears player that the Queen can talk to all the Locusts and coordinate, and so being part of that is neat. Okay. It's just that the actual action itself ends up being kind of flat eventually, but
well, maybe they will.
It is sort of in tune with what you're thinking. I think that's a really great point about what you can do with DLC.
Because that was one of my problems. I reviewed the signal for Alan Wake, and it was more Alan Wake, which I loved, but it was more Alan Wake, which I played.
Yeah.
All right. I wanted to be pushed.
We're gonna hammer through the rest of the show to wrap this up. 10 years ago, this week in reviews. You're done. I'm sorry. No, you can stay around. You should stick around.
I'm here for the, for the duration.
Your review is up today?
Yes. Is today Wednesday?
Today is Wednesday, I think.
Then yes.
If not, we're probably in somebody else's studio time.
Okay.
10 years ago this week in reviews, 9.3. All told, this game is an outstanding new installment in the series and is an excellent role-playing game in its own right. Like other games in the series, it isn't beyond reproach. Not everyone will take its deliberate pacing, its drawn-out and sometimes punishing combat, or its metaphysical story. Similarly, the actual gameplay of this game isn't much of a departure from its predecessors or countless other role-playing games. Instead, the difference between this game and other games is the sheer scope and undeniably impressive production values.
What the heck came out
10 years ago? RPG.
It wasn't Final Fantasy X, was it?
It is Final Fantasy X. Good work, guys.
Oh,
nice work.
Nice work. One short rant. Chewbacca Jones makes a valid point about our Skyrim spoiler cast. Geez, more like a bitch cast.
Yeah,
I like that. I am a fan of podcasts.
He's calling you guys bitches?
I just like that term.
Like a cast of bitches? That's rude, Chewbacca Jones.
No, it's
rude.
Fair. It's fair.
You're a Jedi taint. Sorry, Chewbacca Jones.
Not the worst thing to be. Yeah. I mean,
better than
I've said Chewbacca Jones is probably a really nice guy.
Yeah, it's safe for that.
Relatively speaking.
Jedi taint.
Jedi taint.
I'm a fan of the podcast, really big fan of the game, but I can't believe how much of the show was, here's what sucked about this game, and here's what bugged me about this feature. Even the compliments are backhanded. What I really liked was Feature X. Sure, it wasn't as crappy as how it was in Oblivion. This game is probably the most wide open and content-rich RPGs, if not the most, and that has ever been released on any system. It seems like the spoiler cast should probably concentrate a bit more on specific plot points or cool features that players might stumble on, like unusual quests or whatever, as opposed to what this particular podcast came across as, which could be surmised as, Skyrim is an awesome game. Let me tell you about this buggy letdown with poor AI and a weak ending. Hope you like it as much as we did.
I think this guy raises a great point.
Yeah. I fully agree. Thank you for pointing that out, Chewbacca Jones. Good on you.
It's easy to hate on stuff, even if it's great.
Yeah,
so
it's true.
Thanks for calling our crap on that.
And
by our, I mean what, Sean?
I mean,
I
you
wasn't
guys.
on it.
It was basically.
I love Skyrim. I would have been singing its praises.
Singing.
Sing
us a little ditty about the praises of Skyrim.
Oh, I really like Skyrim. It's such a great game.
Done.
That's all.
Sorry about that, Chewbacca. You're right. I mean,
sorry about that. Sean singing.
Also, sorry for calling you a Jedi taint. You don't deserve that.
You're a Wookiee
a little
taint.
premature, Sean.
You are really the taint of man or woman.
I mean,
you're the taint of a Wookiee.
It's true, but we shouldn't be saying it in front of his face, nor our thousands of listeners. So that's probably where your downfall is.
We have literally tens of listeners.
Tens.
Literally.
We're up from 4 to 10. So that's delightful.
Multiple tens even.
Yeah, multiple 10.
Wonderful world we live in. Stock is rising.
All right, pop quiz hotspot. This is another music one. So, question: from what popular previous generation platforming trilogy is the following music sound from?
It sounds like someone just beat a level.
All right, I can give you one more.
Sly Cooper?
Not quite.
I feel like
Jack
I should.
and Daxter.
Jack. Jack is correct.
Booyah.
Booyah! Sorry.
Booyah.
Sorry, Thanticor. At long last, my panel
Does
has
he-
delivered.
Does he not consider the racing game part of the platforming franchise?
I think you just answered your own question, Tom.
Jack X Racing.
Nobody does.
All right.
Nobody
So
does.
Nobody does.
Nobody does.
that was actually the only trivia that I wrote down, which is a
That's okay.
oversight on my part.
Nice.
We will be not giving out a trivia prize this week. Thanticor, I could have sworn you guys were going to miss that. Good work.
There's only 2 choices. What else is it besides the 2 that we guessed?
I don't know. I don't.
There's
think
4
very
Ratchet
far
games. I
ahead.
can't think of
Platforming
another.
trilogies?
I can't think of another trilogy last generation.
Been
Bandicoot?
like a Prince of Persia.
Yeah.
Could have
There
been.
was a trilogy of Prince of Persia. There we go.
What about like
see.
Rayman?
Could be Rayman.
There's not a trilogy of Rayman.
Just
last
naming
generation.
another platformer.
Anyway, think you know some
Spyro?
obscure gaming trivia, NES era beyond. Want to give us a gaming-related riddle, or as Thanticor attempted to do, stumping us with a... Stop it!
What? I thought that was the thing to do.
No.
I really enjoyed that,
Cameras
by the
around.
way, the multimedia question.
No, I
Let's
like
keep
it too.
that up, man.
Yeah, that was Greg from Guelph.
He should
who
show
set
us a
down on that
clip
path.
from a game and see if we can guess it.
Yeah.
Be like, oh, that's Ratchet and
Way
Clank
to,
right there.
way to create a multimedia nightmare for Tom Magrino.
What I
Well,
want to
it'd be-
see,
It'd be really easy. Was my point.
I want somebody to send us in like 5 different like
Yeah.
controller calibration
Oh.
screens and see
Let's
if we
see.
can guess.
Oh.
those
I kind of
5.
like it.
Yeah, if you have a way to make this segment better, that would probably be
Yeah, some like
absolutely
really
impossible.
esoteric menu
I don't-
screen, like the controller settings.
Yeah, I can show it.
Yeah.
I'll show it on the screen, and they
yeah.
can try to guess it.
And
So
we'll try to guess it. Send us
I
in
like
like
it.
10, 20.
Good.
be creative. NES era and beyond is the only stipulation. But if you stump us, we'll give you a game for whatever's relevant this week, and some pretty useless junk.
And,
I find
and a framed photo of Brendan's mom.
right.
Ooh.
She may be
No.
naked.
You don't.
She gave it to us
come on.
all. It was like a Christmas
Yeah,
card. I
it
don't
was-
understand why.
It was awkward.
It was really hard. I mean,
It
I
was
took
awkward.
it because, you
Yeah.
know, it is a
Really?
naked
Because she
lady.
takes it.
I said,
Oh, God.
yikes.
Wow. Vicious.
Photos. He's talking about photos,
Right,
right?
yeah.
She did take...
She did take her photo. It was
it.
like kind of like a MySpace, like in the bathroom and something.
Yeah, anyway. To our one listener in Mozambique, I salute you.
Does he have a name?
No, I only know where our listeners are from our SoundCloud has this analytics thing, so I can tell where people are listening in the world.
Or to our one listener who is spoofing an IP address in Mozambique.
Right. I salute you. Let's see. Like HotSpot, we have more HotSpots, GameSpot UK podcast, or the OzSpot. Anything else you guys want to promote? Now's the time to do so.
On the spot, last episode of the year. That is tomorrow.
We have a Mario Kart tournament coming up.
Oh, yeah, we do.
We do. It'll air, I believe it's the 28th, 29th, 30th, and 31st. It's like a 4-part thing. I think that's when it's going to go live. So check it out.
We just
we're all involved, all 4 of us.
We just taped it yesterday, and it was hilarious.
Yeah, it's actually pretty good.
It was 4 hours long.
It was
It
great
gets a
fun.
little-
We'll
it
cut
gets-
it down to an even 12 minutes.
It gets a little punchy
My
in the
throat
past
is
few
sore.
rounds. We got a little delirious under those lights. And
Hopefully
was
they'll
really
cut
hot.
out the part where you slander St. Louis over and over.
like
Merciless.
I really took it to St. Louis. And I would just like to apologize in advance to the fine city of St. Louis.
Yeah.
You and your
Not East St. Louis. That deserves all the scorn it gets.
Also,
No,
I
St.
didn't,
Louis is a wonderful city.
I didn't actually murder anybody with a Allen wrench or a screwdriver or whatever it was, a monkey wrench.
No,
Or with any
I
implement. Let's
I
just you don't even
intimated
have
those.
to you don't have to clarify.
Actually, I
qualify
kind
that.
of do need to clarify.
Magrino.
No, I actually suggested that it was with your bare hands.
Oh, okay.
You extinguished a man's life with your bare hands.
If you're gonna extinguish
For
a
the
man's
sin of
life, you
snaking
should at least
in
do it
Mario
up
Kart.
close and personal.
right, you got to look into his eyes. As you're
Otherwise, it barely even
choking
counts.
the life out of
Yeah.
him.
That's some House Stark stuff right there. Nice
Anyway,
work.
that does it for this week. Sean McGinnis, thank you.
Thank you, St. Louis,
Oh.
for being a fine city and a wonderful place for people to call home.
Tom McShay,
Archway to my heart.
Chris Waters,
Hey, glad I could join you guys.
Brendan Sinclair.
Oh.
That does it for me. Thanks for tuning in, everyone. Hotspot out!